Jason Mills stood in front of his hotel mirror and practiced his biggest smile. This was going to be his day. After saving money for 3 years, the 28-year-old from Ohio had finally made it to London. But Jason wasn't just any tourist. He wanted to be famous on the internet. "Today is the day I get 1,000,000 views," he said to himself as he slipped a small red bottle into his pocket. The bottle was full of Devil's Breath hot sauce, known as one of the hottest sauces in the world. Jason had a simple plan. Everyone knew about the famous royal guards in London. They wore red coats and tall black furry hats. They stood very still and never smiled or talked while on duty. Many tourists tried to make them laugh or move. No one succeeded. But Jason thought he was smarter than other tourists. He didn't want to just make a guard smile. He wanted to make one jump, scream, or run away. And he thought his hot sauce would do the trick. His 2 friends, Mike and Dave, waited for him in the hotel lobby. They were nervous about Jason's plan. "I don't think this is a good idea," Mike said, shaking his head. "Those guards are real soldiers. They're not just there for show." "Don't be such a baby," Jason laughed. "What's the worst that could happen? They'll just ask us to leave." Dave looked worried too. "I read online that it's against the law to bother the guards. We could get in real trouble." Jason rolled his eyes. "They say that to scare people. Trust me, this is going to be hilarious, and we're going to be internet stars." The 3 friends took the subway to Buckingham Palace. The day was sunny and warm, and the palace was crowded with tourists from all over the world. Families took photos. Tour guides spoke in many languages. Children pointed at the tall gates and beautiful building. Jason scanned the area, looking for the perfect guard to prank. He spotted one standing alone at the corner of the palace grounds. The guard stood straight and still, looking ahead with empty eyes. He was young, maybe only a few years older than Jason. His red uniform was perfect, and his black boots shined in the sun. "That's our guy," Jason whispered to his friends. "Get your phones ready. Make sure you record everything." Mike and Dave nervously took out their phones and prepared to film. They stayed a few steps behind Jason, who walked confidently toward the guard. The guard was Corporal Thomas Williams. He had served in the British Army for 5 years. He had been in dangerous places around the world and had seen real combat. Standing guard at the palace was an honor for Thomas. He took his duty very seriously. Thomas noticed Jason approaching from the corner of his eye. He had seen thousands of tourists try to make him react. Some waved their hands in front of his face. Others told jokes or made funny faces. A few even shouted suddenly, hoping to scare him. Thomas never reacted. That was his job. But Thomas had never met someone like Jason before. He didn't know what was about to happen. Jason circled the guard 3 times, getting closer with each circle. Tourists nearby watched with interest. Some of them sensed trouble and moved away. Others took out their phones, expecting something entertaining. "Hey, Mr. Guard," Jason said loudly. "I bet I can make you move." Thomas stared straight ahead, his face showing nothing. Jason reached into his pocket and took out the small red bottle. His heart beat faster as he removed the cap. The strong smell of hot peppers hit his nose, making his eyes water a little. "This is going to be epic," Jason whispered to himself as he moved even closer to the guard. Jason had no idea that in exactly 10 minutes he would be in handcuffs, facing serious charges that would change his life forever. Jason moved closer to Corporal Williams, the hot sauce bottle held tightly in his hand. The guard remained perfectly still, his eyes focused straight ahead. A small crowd had begun to gather, curious about what the loud American might do. "Ladies and gentlemen," Jason called out, enjoying the attention. "Today, you will see something amazing. I will make this guard move." Some tourists laughed. Others looked worried. A mother pulled her children away from the scene, sensing trouble. Mike whispered urgently, "Jason, please don't do this. Look, there are police nearby." Jason ignored his friend. He was too excited about his plan. He imagined how many people would watch his video, how many would share it, how famous he would become. "This guard thinks he's so tough," Jason said loudly for the crowd to hear. "But everyone has a breaking point." Corporal Williams heard everything. Inside, he felt annoyed and a little worried. In his 3 years as a Royal Guard, he had dealt with many silly tourists. But something about this man felt different, more dangerous. Thomas thought about his training. Royal Guards were allowed to react if they were in danger. But was this danger? Not yet. So he stayed still, hoping the tourist would get bored and leave. Jason moved even closer, now just 1 foot away from the guard's face. He could see the guard's eyes blink once. A tiny bead of sweat rolled down the side of the guard's face in the hot sun. "Get ready for the show, everyone," Jason announced, holding up the hot sauce bottle for all to see. "This is Devil's Breath hot sauce, the hottest in the world." Dave stepped forward. "Jason, that's enough. You've had your fun. Let's go." But Jason was beyond listening. He had come too far to stop now. In one quick movement, Jason pointed the bottle at the guard's face and squeezed hard. The bright red sauce shot out and hit Corporal Williams directly in the eyes, nose, and mouth. The crowd gasped in shock. Someone screamed. Mike dropped his phone. For 2 incredible seconds, Corporal Williams did not move. The burning sauce dripped down his face. His eyes felt like they were on fire. His lips and tongue burned with pain he had never felt before. The hot sauce was 1,000 times stronger than a jalapeno pepper. Then nature took over. No training could stop what happened next. Corporal Williams broke his stance. He bent forward, hands reaching for his burning eyes. A sound between a scream and a growl came from his throat. He stumbled backward, nearly falling. Jason laughed wildly. "I did it. Did you get that on video?" he shouted to his friends. But his friends weren't laughing. They were backing away, horror on their faces. Jason turned to look at the crowd. No one was laughing. People looked angry, disgusted. Some were pointing behind him. Before Jason could turn around, he felt a heavy hand on his shoulder. "You're under arrest," said a deep voice. 2 police officers had been watching from nearby. They had seen everything. One officer grabbed Jason's arms and pulled them behind his back. Cold metal handcuffs clicked around his wrists. "What? No, it was just a joke," Jason shouted, suddenly afraid. The second officer was helping Corporal Williams, who was now sitting on the ground. The guard's face was bright red. His eyes were swollen shut. He was having trouble breathing. "We need medical help here," the officer called into his radio. "Chemical attack on a Royal Guard." The words "chemical attack" hit Jason like a bucket of cold water. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. This was supposed to be funny. He was supposed to be a hero online. "It's just hot sauce," Jason said weakly. The police officer glared at him. "That's assault. That's attacking a member of the Queen's Guard. That's a serious crime." As the officer led Jason away through the whispering crowd, he could see his friends being questioned by another police officer. Their phones were being taken as evidence. In the distance, an ambulance siren wailed, getting closer. Jason's heart sank. His great plan for internet fame had gone terribly wrong. And it had only been about 5 minutes since he had opened that bottle of hot sauce. Jason sat in the back of the police car, his hands still locked in handcuffs behind his back. Through the window, he could see the ambulance workers helping Corporal Williams. They were washing his eyes with special water and putting cold packs on his face. The guard's perfect red uniform was now stained with hot sauce and water. "I didn't mean to hurt him that bad," Jason said to the police officer sitting in front of him. The officer didn't answer. He was writing in a small notebook, not interested in Jason's excuses. Jason looked at his watch. It had been exactly 10 minutes since he had sprayed the hot sauce. 10 minutes ago, he thought he would be a hero. Now he was a criminal. The police cars started moving. As they drove away from Buckingham Palace, Jason saw a news van arriving. A woman with a microphone was talking to some of the tourists who had seen what happened. His stomach felt sick when he realized his face might be on the news. "Where are my friends?" Jason asked. "They are coming to the station too," the officer said without looking up. "We need their statements and the videos from their phones." Jason closed his eyes. The videos. The same videos that were supposed to make him famous would now be used against him in court. The police car arrived at a large stone building with a sign that said, "Metropolitan Police." Two officers led Jason inside. They took his fingerprints and a photo. They took his passport, wallet, and phone. They put everything in a plastic bag with his name on it. A female officer sat Jason down in a small room with a table and 2 chairs. The walls were plain white. There was a camera in the corner of the ceiling. "Jason Mills," she said, reading from a paper. "American citizen, age 28, from Cleveland, Ohio." Jason nodded. "You are being charged with assault on a member of the Queen's Guard," she said. "This is a serious crime in the United Kingdom. You will stay in jail until you see a judge tomorrow morning." "Tomorrow?" Jason's voice cracked. "But I have a flight back to America in 3 days. And my hotel." "That's not our problem," the officer said. "You should have thought about that before you attacked the guard." "It wasn't an attack," Jason said, his voice getting louder. "It was just a prank. For the internet." The officer's face grew hard. "Corporal Thomas Williams is now in the hospital. The doctors say the hot sauce you used has caused burns to his eyes, nose, and mouth. They don't know if there will be lasting damage." "That is not a prank, Mr. Mills. That is assault." Jason felt like he couldn't breathe. Burns. Hospital. This couldn't be happening. "Can I call someone?" he asked weakly. The officer pushed a phone across the table. "You get 1 call." Jason's hand shook as he dialed his parents' number in Ohio. It would be early morning there. His mother answered, her voice sleepy. "Mom," Jason said, trying not to cry. "I'm in trouble. Big trouble." While Jason explained what had happened to his shocked mother, another officer brought in Mike and Dave. They looked scared. The police had taken their phones, but had not arrested them. "They weren't part of it," Jason said quickly to the female officer when he finished his call. "They tried to stop me." The officer nodded. "Their stories match that. They are free to go, but they can't leave London yet. We need them as witnesses." Mike wouldn't look at Jason. Dave just shook his head sadly. "I'm sorry," Jason said to his friends. "We told you not to do it," Mike said quietly. "Now that guard is in the hospital, and you're going to jail." A male officer came in with a cup of water for Jason. "The news is already on TV," he said to the female officer. "The American embassy has called. They want to send someone to talk to him." Jason put his head in his hands. It had now been 30 minutes since his stupid prank. His vacation was ruined. His friends were angry. A man was in the hospital. And the whole world would soon know what he had done. The female officer stood up. "Time to go to your cell, Mr. Mills. You'll see the judge in the morning." As they led him down a long hallway of cells, Jason had never felt more alone or more sorry in his life. Jason spent a long, cold night in the small cell. He slept little, thinking about the terrible mistake he had made. The thin mattress felt hard under his back. The sounds of other people in nearby cells made it hard to rest. Every hour, a guard walked by and looked in through a small window in the door. Morning came with the sound of a loud bell. A police officer opened Jason's cell door. "Breakfast," the officer said, handing him a tray with toast, eggs, and tea. Jason wasn't hungry, but he ate anyway. He didn't know when he would get food again. At 9 o'clock, another officer came to take Jason to the courthouse. They put handcuffs on him again and led him to a police van. 2 other prisoners were already inside. They didn't speak to Jason. The ride to the courthouse took 20 minutes. Jason looked out the small window at the London streets. People were walking to work. Buses and taxis moved through traffic. Everyone was having a normal day. Only Jason's life had fallen apart. At the courthouse, Jason was taken to a small room to wait. A woman in a suit came to see him. "Mr. Mills, I am Sarah Johnson from the American Embassy," she said. "I'm here to make sure you are treated fairly, but I cannot get you out of trouble." "Can you call my parents again?" Jason asked. "They must be so worried." "I spoke with them an hour ago," Sarah said. "They are trying to find a lawyer for you. They also said they will come to London as soon as they can get flights." Jason felt a little better knowing his parents were coming. Then Sarah gave him some bad news. "The story of what you did is all over the news," she said, "both here and in America. There are videos of the incident online. Millions of people have seen them." Jason's heart sank. He had wanted to be famous. Now he was, but for all the wrong reasons. "What about the guard?" Jason asked. "Is he okay?" Sarah's face turned serious. "Corporal Williams is still in the hospital. The hot sauce you used was extremely strong. It burned his skin and damaged his eyes. The doctors are not sure if he will have permanent eye damage." Jason felt sick. He hadn't thought about how dangerous hot sauce could be. He had only thought about making a funny video. "I never wanted to hurt anyone," Jason said, his voice shaking. "Intentions don't matter much now," Sarah said. "What matters is what you did and what happened because of it." A court officer came to get Jason. It was time to see the judge. Sarah walked with him into a large courtroom. The room was full of people. Some were there for other cases. Others looked like reporters. Jason saw Mike and Dave sitting in the back row. They looked tired and worried. Next to them sat an older man in an expensive suit. Sarah whispered that this was Mr. Parker, a lawyer his parents had hired. The judge, an older woman with gray hair and serious eyes, called Jason's case. Jason stood before her, still in handcuffs. He felt small and scared. The prosecutor, a man in a black robe, spoke first. "Your Honor, Mr. Mills assaulted a member of the Queen's Guard by spraying extremely hot sauce in his face. This was not an accident but a planned attack meant to humiliate the guard and create an internet video. Corporal Williams is now in hospital with chemical burns to his face and eyes." The judge looked at Jason with cold eyes. "Mr. Mills, how do you plead to the charge of assault?" Jason's new lawyer stood up. "Your Honor, my client pleads not guilty at this time. We request bail." The prosecutor shook his head. "Your Honor, Mr. Mills is a flight risk. He is not a UK citizen and could easily leave the country. We ask that he remain in jail until trial." Jason looked at his lawyer in panic. He could not stay in jail for weeks or months. The judge thought for a moment. Then she made her decision. "Bail is set at £20,000, she said. "Mr. Mills must surrender his passport and report to the police station daily. He cannot leave London until this case is resolved." Jason felt both relief and fear. He wouldn't have to stay in jail, but he was trapped in a foreign country with serious criminal charges. And he had no idea how his parents would find £20,000, over $25,000, for his bail. Jason sat in his lawyer's office 2 days after his court appearance. Mr. Parker, the lawyer, looked tired. Papers covered his desk. The phone rang often, but Mr. Parker's assistant answered it outside. "Your parents sent the bail money," Mr. Parker said. "They had to take a loan on their house." Jason felt a wave of shame. His parents were not rich. They had saved for years to help him go to college. Now they had to borrow money to keep him out of jail. "When will they get here?" Jason asked. "Tomorrow evening," Mr. Parker said. "I found them a hotel near mine. It's not cheap, but it's safe." Jason nodded. The hospital was a large building with many floors. Jason and Mr. Parker went to the 3rd floor where Corporal Williams was staying. 2 police officers stood outside his room. They gave Jason angry looks as he walked by. Dr. Sharma, the main doctor caring for Corporal Williams, met them in a small meeting room. She was a short woman with kind eyes, but a serious face. "Thank you for coming," she said. "I wanted to speak with you before you see Corporal Williams." Jason felt nervous. "I get to see him." "He has asked to see you," Dr. Sharma said. "But first, I need to tell you about his condition." She showed them some pictures on her tablet. They were close-up images of eyes. They looked red and damaged. "The hot sauce you used contained capsaicin in very high amounts. This is what makes peppers hot," she explained. "It caused chemical burns to Corporal Williams' corneas, the front part of his eyes." Mr. Parker asked, "Will there be permanent damage?" Dr. Sharma sighed. "We don't know yet. His left eye is healing well. But his right eye—" She shook her head. "There is a 50% chance he will not see clearly from that eye again." Jason felt the room spin around him. He had never thought hot sauce could blind someone. He felt sick. Can I say sorry to him?" Jason asked in a small voice. "You can," Dr. Sharma said. "But I must warn you, his family is here. They are very upset." She led Jason and Mr. Parker to Corporal Williams' room. Inside, Thomas Williams lay in bed with bandages over his eyes. A woman who looked like his mother sat on one side of the bed. A younger woman, maybe his sister, sat on the other side. They both looked up when Jason entered. Their faces showed anger mixed with sadness. "This is him?" Thomas' mother asked, her voice cold. Dr. Sharma nodded. "Mr. Mills has asked to speak with Thomas." Jason took a small step forward. His legs felt weak. I'm so sorry," he said. "I never meant to hurt anyone like this." The room was quiet for a long moment. Then Thomas spoke. "Why did you do it?" His voice was rough, like his throat was sore. "What did I ever do to you?" "Nothing," Jason said quickly. "You did nothing. It was all me. I was stupid. I thought it would be funny. For a video." "A video." Thomas' sister stood up, her hands in fists. "My brother might lose his eye for your internet video." Mr. Parker put a hand on Jason's shoulder, warning him to be careful what he said. "I know saying sorry isn't enough," Jason said. "I'll do anything to make this right. Anything." Thomas was quiet again. Then he reached up and touched the bandage over his right eye. "I joined the army when I was 18, he said slowly. "I served in dangerous places. I was never hurt. Then I get this special job at the palace. My family was so proud." His voice broke a little. "Now the doctors say I might not be able to stay in the army if my eye doesn't heal." His mother took his hand and squeezed it. "What will you do then?" she asked Jason. "How will you make that right?" Before Jason could answer, a police officer entered the room. "Sorry to interrupt," she said, "but we need Mr. Mills to come with us." Jason looked at Mr. Parker in confusion. "What's happening?" Mr. Parker asked. "New evidence has come to light," the officer said. "We need to ask Mr. Mills some more questions." "What evidence?" Mr. Parker demanded. The officer looked at Jason. "We found messages on his phone where he planned this attack days in advance. He researched which hot sauce would cause the most pain. He looked up whether guards could be arrested for breaking position." Jason felt the blood drain from his face. It was true. He had done those things. But when he had called it an attack in his texts to friends back home, he had been joking. He hadn't really thought of it as an attack. But now, standing in front of the man he had hurt, Jason realized that's exactly what it had been. He had attacked an innocent person for internet fame. "I'll come with you," Jason said quietly to the police officer. To Thomas, he said, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." As Jason left the room, he heard Thomas' mother crying softly. The sound would stay with him forever. Jason sat in a small room at the police station. This was different from the first room he had been in. This one had a video camera in the corner and a recording device on the table. Two police officers sat across from him. Mr. Parker sat next to Jason. "We have read all the messages on your phone, Mr. Mills," said Officer Bennett, a tall man with a serious face. You told your friends back in Ohio that you were going to attack a guard. I didn't mean attack, Jason said quickly. I was just joking around. Officer Bennett showed Jason a printout of his text messages. You wrote, I'm going to make one of those guards break. I found this super hot sauce that will make him scream. That sounds planned to me. Jason couldn't argue. It was true. He had planned it. You also searched online to see if you could go to jail for bothering the guards, said Officer Chen, the second police officer. So you knew what you were doing was wrong. Mr. Parker spoke up. My client made a terrible mistake. He understands that now. But he never intended to cause serious harm. The officers didn't look convinced. They showed more evidence from Jason's phone. Pictures of the hot sauce bottle. A map of Buckingham Palace with notes about where guards stood. Even a practice video where Jason explained what he was going to do. With this new evidence, Officer Bennett said, we are changing the charges to aggravated assault with premeditation. This is much more serious. Jason felt like he couldn't breathe. What does that mean? Mr. Parker's face was grim. It means they think you planned to hurt the guard on purpose, not just as a prank gone wrong. The possible prison time is longer. But I didn't want to hurt him, Jason cried. Not really hurt him. I thought it would just sting a little. Officer Chen opened a folder and pulled out a paper. This is the warning label from the hot sauce bottle. She read aloud. Warning. Extremely hot. Avoid contact with skin, eyes, and mouth. Can cause severe burns if misused. Did you read this warning? She asked Jason. Jason hung his head. No. The questioning went on for 3 more hours. The officers showed more evidence. They asked the same questions in different ways. Jason felt tired and scared. Mr. Parker kept telling him to be careful what he said. Finally, the officers left the room to talk to their boss. Jason and Mr. Parker were alone. This is bad, Mr. Parker said. Very bad. They have strong evidence that you planned this. But I didn't plan to hurt him so badly, Jason said. That might not matter, Mr. Parker explained. In the law, if you do something dangerous that any reasonable person would know could hurt someone, you can still be charged even if you didn't want the exact harm that happened. Before they could talk more, the door opened. A woman in a nice suit walked in. She wasn't a police officer. Hello, Mr. Mills, she said. I'm Laura Davies from the Crown Prosecution Service. I'm in charge of your case. She sat down and placed a folder on the table. I've reviewed all the evidence. I've also spoken with Corporal Williams and his family. Jason waited, his heart beating fast. We are willing to offer a deal, Ms. Davies said. If you plead guilty to the original charge of assault, we won't add the new aggravated assault charge. What would that mean? Jason asked. You would likely serve between 6 months and 1 year in prison, she said. With the new charges, you could face up to 7 years. Jason looked at Mr. Parker in panic. Prison? For up to a year? Can we have some time to think about it? Mr. Parker asked. You have until tomorrow morning, Ms. Davies said, standing up. After that, we move forward with the full charges. After she left, Jason put his head on the table and cried. Prison in a foreign country. His parents spending all their money on lawyers and hotels. His future ruined. And a man who might lose his eye. What should I do? Jason asked Mr. Parker. I think you should take the deal, Mr. Parker said softly. The evidence is very strong. If we go to trial, you will likely lose, and then the sentence will be much worse. Jason nodded slowly. The dream vacation that had turned into a nightmare just kept getting worse. Jason's parents arrived in London that night. They looked tired and worried after their long flight from Ohio. Jason met them at his lawyer's office. When his mother saw him, she ran to hug him. His father stood back, his face showing both love and disappointment. Oh, Jason, his mother said, crying. What have you done? Jason couldn't speak. He just hugged his mother tightly. Mr. Parker explained everything to Jason's parents. He told them about the new evidence, the more serious charges, and the deal the prosecutor had offered. 1 year in prison. Jason's father shook his head in disbelief. For hot sauce. For assault that caused serious injury, Mr. Parker corrected. The hot sauce contained chemicals that burned Corporal Williams' eyes. He might be partially blind for life. Jason's mother gasped. Oh my God. They talked for hours about what to do. Mr. Parker explained that if Jason took the deal and pleaded guilty, he would likely serve his time in a minimum security prison. He might even get out earlier with good behavior. But if we fight this in court and lose, he warned, Jason could go to a regular prison for much longer. What do you think, Jason? His father asked. It's your life. Jason thought about Corporal Williams lying in the hospital bed with bandages over his eyes. He thought about the man's mother and sister, their faces filled with anger and pain. I did it, Jason said quietly. I planned it. I hurt him. I should take responsibility. His parents looked at him with surprise. It was the most grown-up thing they had ever heard him say. The next morning, Jason and his parents met with Mr. Parker at the courthouse. Ms. Davies, the prosecutor, was there with her team. Before going into court, they had one more meeting. I've spoken with Corporal Williams and his family, Ms. Davies said. They have one more condition for accepting this plea deal. What's that? Mr. Parker asked. They want Mr. Mills to make a public apology. On camera. They want him to warn others not to do what he did. Jason nodded right away. I'll do it. I want to do it. An hour later, Jason stood in front of news cameras outside the courthouse. His parents and Mr. Parker stood nearby. Jason looked tired and scared, but he spoke clearly. My name is Jason Mills. 6 days ago, I assaulted Corporal Thomas Williams, a royal guard at Buckingham Palace. I sprayed him with extremely hot sauce as a prank for an internet video. This was not funny. It was not a joke. It was assault. Jason took a deep breath and continued. Corporal Williams is now in the hospital. The hot sauce burned his eyes. He may lose sight in one eye. His career in the army might be over because of what I did. Tears filled Jason's eyes, but he kept going. I am deeply sorry for what I did. I will accept whatever punishment the court gives me. And I want to warn others. Don't do stupid things for internet fame. It's not worth ruining your life or hurting innocent people. After the cameras were turned off, Mr. Parker led Jason and his parents into the courthouse. The courtroom was packed with reporters and people who wanted to see the hot sauce tourist, as newspapers were calling him. The judge entered, and everyone stood. She looked at Jason with serious eyes. Mr. Mills, I understand you wish to change your plea, she asked. Jason stood up straight. Yes, Your Honor. I plead guilty. The judge nodded. Very well. I will now hear statements from both sides before deciding your sentence. Jason sat down, his hands shaking. This was it. In a few minutes, he would learn how long he would spend in prison. His future was in the judge's hands now. His mother reached over and squeezed his hand. No matter what happened next, at least he wasn't alone. The courtroom was quiet as Ms. Davies spoke about what Jason had done. She showed the videos of the assault. She showed pictures of Corporal Williams' injuries. She read statements from doctors about his eyes. This was not just a thoughtless moment, Ms. Davies said. Mr. Mills planned this attack. He chose a guard who could not move or defend himself. He chose a substance that could cause serious harm. And he did it all for internet fame. Then it was Mr. Parker's turn to speak. My client made a terrible mistake, he said, but he has shown real remorse. He has admitted his guilt. He has publicly apologized. He has no past criminal record. And he never intended to cause such serious harm. The judge listened carefully to both sides. Then she asked if anyone else wanted to speak. To everyone's surprise, a man stood up at the back of the courtroom. It was Corporal Thomas Williams. He wore a regular suit instead of his guard uniform. He still had a bandage over his right eye. Your Honor, he said in a clear voice, I would like to speak. The judge nodded. Thomas walked slowly to the front of the courtroom. He stood straight, like the soldier he was. 6 days ago, this man, he pointed at Jason, assaulted me while I was doing my duty. I could not defend myself because my job required me to stand still. Jason looked down at his hands, unable to meet Thomas's gaze. The hot sauce burned my skin and eyes. Thomas continued, I spent 3 days in hospital. The doctors say I have 70% vision in my right eye now. It may get better with time, or it may not. The courtroom was completely silent. I was very angry, Thomas said. I wanted this man to suffer as I had suffered. But then I saw his public apology. I saw his parents' faces, and I remembered something my commander once told me. A soldier must have courage in battle, but also mercy in victory. Thomas turned to look directly at Jason. I believe Mr. Mills is truly sorry. I believe he has learned a hard lesson. So I asked the court to show some mercy. Whispers filled the courtroom. No one had expected this. The judge asked Jason if he wanted to say anything before she gave her decision. Jason stood up, his legs shaking. I just want to say thank you to Corporal Williams. I don't deserve his kindness. What I did was stupid and cruel. I will accept any punishment, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to be a better person. The judge looked at Jason for a long moment. Then she spoke. Jason Mills, you have pleaded guilty to assault causing actual bodily harm. This is a serious crime that usually results in prison time. Jason's mother squeezed his hand tightly. However, the judge continued, I have considered Corporal Williams' statement. I have considered your clean record and your public apology. She paused, and the whole room held its breath. I sentence you to 10 months in prison, suspended for 2 years. A suspended sentence meant Jason would not go to prison unless he committed another crime in the next 2 years. You will also pay a fine of £15,000, all of which will go to Corporal Williams. You will complete 300 hours of community service when you return to the United States, and you are banned from entering the United Kingdom for 5 years. Jason couldn't believe what he was hearing. No prison. He could go home. Do not mistake this for a light punishment, Mr. Mills, the judge warned. You now have a criminal record. You owe a large sum of money. And if you break any law in the next 2 years, you will serve the full 10 months in prison. Jason nodded. I understand, Your Honor. Thank you. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited to hear the sentence. But Jason didn't talk to them. Instead, he walked over to where Thomas Williams was standing with his family. Thank you, Jason said simply. I don't know why you helped me, but thank you. Thomas looked at him with his one good eye. Don't waste this chance, he said. Make better choices. Jason nodded. I will. I promise. 1 month later, Jason was back in Ohio. He had a job at a local community center, working with kids to teach them about actions and consequences. He was paying back his parents for the bail money and legal fees. And every month, he sent money to Thomas Williams in London. Jason never made another prank video. But he did make one last video, a serious one, warning young people about the dangers of seeking internet fame at any cost. That video did go viral, but for all the right reasons. What had started with 10 minutes of terrible judgment had changed his life forever, but not in the way he had planned. Instead of fame, Jason had found something more important: responsibility, empathy, and a chance to make things right.